Some jobs will disappear because of AI, and that part is true, but most people are worried about the wrong ones. And that misunderstanding is what creates most of the fear we see today. When people hear the words artificial intelligence, they often imagine machines suddenly replacing humans, taking over work, and making people unnecessary. And this image spreads very quickly because it sounds dramatic and frightening. Many people picture a future where humans are pushed aside, where machines do everything faster and better, and where people no longer have a role. But this picture is not based on how change usually happens in the real world. Technology does not arrive all at once, and it does not replace people overnight. Instead, it slowly becomes part of how work is done, one task at a time, over many years. In reality, artificial intelligence has already been around for a long time, helping people quietly in the background, without making headlines, without sudden changes, and without most people even noticing that it is there. AI already helps recommend content, organize information, filter spam, and support decision-making, and these systems have been improving slowly, not suddenly. The fear we see today does not come from AI itself. It comes from misunderstanding how AI is actually used. And when people misunderstand how something works, they often imagine the worst possible outcome. That misunderstanding leads people to worry about the wrong things, and it distracts them from what really matters. Artificial intelligence is not something that will arrive in the future, and it is not a new invention that suddenly appeared. It has been developing quietly for many years and slowly becoming part of everyday life. Most people already use AI every single day, even if they do not think about it in that way, and even if they never open an app called artificial intelligence. AI helps decide which videos you see online. It helps sort emails into spam or important messages. It helps translate languages, recommend music, and organize large amounts of information. These systems work in the background, quietly and efficiently, without asking for attention. And because of that, many people do not realize how common AI already is. This is important to understand because it shows that AI does not arrive with sudden shocks. It does not change everything at once, and it does not replace humans overnight. Instead, it slowly becomes part of tools that people already use, improving them step by step and making certain tasks easier or faster over time. When people imagine AI as something completely new and sudden, they often overestimate how fast change will happen, and that misunderstanding creates unnecessary fear. AI has already been integrated into modern life in small ways, and society has adapted to it without major disruption. One of the biggest misunderstandings about AI is the idea that it directly replaces humans, as if a machine suddenly appears and a human immediately disappears. That is not how technological change usually works in the real world, and it has never worked that way in the past. When new technology appears, jobs do not vanish overnight. Instead, the way people work slowly changes, and people adapt to new tools over time. This process happens gradually, often over many years, and during that time, people adjust their skills, responsibilities, and expectations. The misunderstanding comes from thinking of jobs as a single task, when in reality, every job is made up of many different tasks. Some of those tasks can be automated, some can be improved with tools, and some still require human judgment, communication, and responsibility. When people believe that AI replaces entire jobs instantly, they miss how complex real work actually is, and that leads them to fear outcomes that are unlikely to happen all at once. Understanding this difference helps reduce fear and brings the conversation back to reality. The simple truth is that AI does not replace people, it replaces tasks. And this distinction is very important. Every job, no matter what it is, consists of many small tasks that together form a role. Some tasks are repetitive, they follow clear rules, and they look the same every time they are done. Other tasks require judgment, creativity, communication, and understanding people and situations. AI is very good at handling tasks that are repetitive, predictable, and rule-based, because machines excel at processing patterns and large amounts of data. But tasks that involve context, responsibility, and human understanding are much harder to automate. When AI replaces certain tasks, it often frees people from routine work, allowing them to focus on more complex and meaningful parts of their job. This is why tasks change before jobs disappear, and why many roles evolve instead of vanishing. When AI becomes part of a workplace, jobs usually change gradually rather than disappearing suddenly. People start using AI as a tool to support their work, not as a replacement for themselves. They may spend less time on manual or repetitive tasks and more time on planning, decision-making, or communication. Over time, the role shifts, but the person remains involved, often with new responsibilities and expectations. This pattern has happened many times before with other technologies, such as computers, automation, and the internet. Each time, work changed, tools improved, and people adapted by learning how to use new systems effectively. AI follows the same pattern, slowly integrating into existing workflows and changing how tasks are completed. Understanding this helps people see AI as a tool to work with, rather than a threat that removes them from the process. Many people worry about the wrong things when they think about AI and jobs. They fear creative roles, leadership positions, and work that involves human interaction, because they assume machines will become better at everything. But these roles depend heavily on understanding people, making decisions, and taking responsibility for outcomes. Creativity involves context, emotions, and cultural understanding, which are difficult for machines to replicate. Leadership requires trust, judgment, and accountability, which cannot be easily automated. Work that involves people often requires empathy, communication, and adapting to complex situations. These aspects of work are not simple tasks, and they do not follow clear rules that machines can easily apply. This is why many human-centered roles are more resilient than people expect. AI can process information quickly and suggest possible options based on data, but it cannot take responsibility for decisions. It does not understand consequences in the same way humans do, and it does not carry accountability when something goes wrong. AI does not feel pressure, ethical responsibility, or moral obligation, and it does not make final decisions on its own. When important choices are made, humans are still responsible for evaluating options, considering risks, and accepting the outcome. This is a crucial limitation of AI, and it explains why humans remain central in many roles, even as tools improve. AI can support decision making, but it does not replace human judgment, especially in situations that involve uncertainty and responsibility. So, the real question is not whether AI will replace your job, because that question misses the bigger picture. The real question is how willing you are to adapt as tools and tasks change over time. People who learn how to work with AI, who understand its strengths and limitations, will continue to stay relevant. People who ignore change or refuse to adapt may struggle as their tasks evolve. The future is not about humans versus machines, it is about humans working with machines. That choice, how you respond and adapt, is still human, and it remains in your control.